Hey, good afternoon. How's everybody doing out there? I know it's been approximately 3 weeks, actually almost a month since I've done a video. Just been busy with schoolwork and work and sports and all that stuff. Hey, I'm like to knock this video out today. It's going to be titled First, Second, and Third Heaven. And what I'm referring to there is, when Paul says, I knew a man once about 14 years ago that was caught up to the third heaven, right? So that's why I wanted to take on this video, because I've had a couple questions about this, and you have to understand there's a reason why there are three different heavens, and there are three different heavens, and a lot of people don't understand that. They just think that you look up at the sky and then you've got heaven, heaven where we're going to spend eternity above that, when in all actuality, the second heaven is the firmament. So let me go ahead and jump right in. So Revelation chapter 19, verse 17 is where we're going to start off today. And the reason why I want to start off in Revelation is because it explains the first heaven, right? All right, I'll give you a second to flip on over there. Revelation chapter 19, verse 17. All right, so John says, "And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God." So here in this verse, we see that this is referring to the sky, right? Because that's the highest part. That's the highest, I guess you'd call it, layer, whatever you want to call it. That's the highest place that birds can reach. All right, now we're going to move on to Genesis chapter 1, verses 6 to 8. I'm not going to read all the verses for you, but I just want to touch on a few quick things there, because this explains the firmament. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to go ahead and read it. Genesis chapter 1, verses 6 to 8. "And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day." All right. So we can see that God created the firmament to divide the waters from the waters. Waters above, waters below. And he called that firmament heaven. So for the flood in Genesis chapter 7, verses 11 and 12, God opened the windows of heaven, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. So in verses 17 through 20, now I'm referring to Genesis chapter 7 there, the flood. In verses 17 through 20, the waters covered the mountains. So the water level rose on a spinning ball, I ask you? Nope, not at all. It's impossible. This water has a boundary. You can't flood a globe, right? So notice in Genesis chapter 8, verse 2, I wasn't going to read that one either, but I'm going to read it just so you can get a little clarity, and then I'll talk about it real quick. Genesis chapter 8, verse 2. "The fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained." I'll go ahead and read verse 3. "And the waters returned from off the earth continually. And after the end of the 150 days, the water were abated." Okay, so so we see that the water level rose, right? And if we understand that the windows of heaven and then the rain from heaven are two separate things, right? So the windows were opened, therefore the rain came down through those windows, those openings. So where is a window or a door made? Is that made in something just out in the sky? Something that doesn't have a boundary? No. It's made in something solid. A solid firmament, right? A solid firmament is where your windows of heaven are at. And so those windows opened, and then the water came down. So you simply can't have a door in open air. Revelation chapter 4, verse 1. I'll flip on over there for you. I'll read that real quick. Revelation chapter 4, verse 1. Revelation chapter 4, verse 1. After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven. And the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking to me, which said, and I'll read verse 2, come up hither, and I will shew thee things which must be hereafter. So there's that door, right? All right, now we're moving on to the third heaven. So the third heaven is where God's throne is. It's where we will spend eternity, right? And in Matthew chapter 5, verse 16, that's where it explains the third heaven. And I'm going to read that to you. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So what does Paul say about it in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 2? Like I was telling you earlier, when he was caught up to the third heaven, right? And just for a little context, I'll read it. I'll go and read the whole verse to you. 2 Corinthians chapter 12. Verse 2. I knew a man in Christ above 14 years ago, whether in the body I cannot tell, or whether out of the body I cannot tell. God knoweth. Such an one caught up to the third heaven. I'll read verse 3 for you. Actually, 3 and 4. And I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell. God knoweth. How that he was caught up into paradise and heard unspeakable words, which is not lawful for a man to utter. Okay, so there you see the third heaven. So we have three heavens there, right? We've got the heaven with the sky and the birds. Got the second heaven, which is the firmament. And then you've got the third heaven, which is where the throne of God is, right? All right, so hopefully you guys got a little clarity, a little context out of that. And hopefully it helps some of you in your studies and understanding, the differences of those three. All right, grace and peace to you.